Welcome to the Murfreesboro City Council meeting. It's December 4th at 6 o'clock. If you'll bow with me, we'll say a prayer and then stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father God, I thank you for this night, this chance that we get to come together. Lord, I say a special prayer tonight that we lift up all those that have spoken and unspoken prayers, but more importantly, I want to thank you for the ladies that we have in this room, for what they represent, for who they represent. I want to pray that you give them guidance, that you give them strength, and most of all, Lord, that you give them the ability to fight through the things that they need to fight through and be a light in this community. I thank you for the people who are serving, our police officers, our firefighters, Father, every city employee that every day comes to work and works hard for this city. It's a season where there's lots of joy, and Father, it's a season where people have sorrow. And I pray that you lift up those that need you, that you lift up those that need hope, and you lift up those that need your love. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have two ceremonial items tonight. One of them is sort of a surprise, so I want to ask Joel Bigelow to come up. And Joel, I'll say this: over the last couple of weeks of correspondence, that you married up. You outkicked your coverage. So Joel is 10 years ago started Endure Athletics, and so Joel has also made a decision that he's getting ready to move to a different stage, and someone's going to carry the legacy that you've built with Endure. So we thought it was a good time to recognize his 10-year anniversary. So whereas this year marks the 10-year anniversary of Joel Bigelow founding the Endure Athletics Foundation, an organization created with a steadfast mission to enrich the lives of homeless children and youth in our community. And whereas from its inception, Joel Bigelow's vision has been to equip young people experiencing homelessness with essential life skills, educational support, and Christ-centered mentorship so they may break the cycle of generational poverty and pursue a brighter future. Whereas what began as a simple Saturday morning gathering of breakfast and games has grown into a full program providing daily enrichment, warm meals, reliable transportation, meaningful mentorship, and a consistent place of safety and belonging. And whereas since 2015, the Endure Athletics Foundation has faithfully stood in the gap for children and youth experiencing homelessness in the city of Murfreesboro, serving as a beacon of hope and support. And whereas over the last decade, hundreds of children have experienced stability, guidance, and courage and hope because of foundation programs and Joel Bigelow's unwavering commitment to their well-being and success. Now, therefore, I, Shane McFarland, Mayor of the City of Murfreesboro, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim December 4, 2025 is a day to recognize Joe Bigelow and his founding of the Endure Athletics Foundation. I encourage all citizens to congratulate the foundation on their 10-year anniversary, commending its continued service, compassion, and transformative impact on our community. Congratulations, Joe. Now we have a special group who's here tonight too, and one of their fearless leaders, Robert Sane. Robert serves on our golf commission. I'm not going to tell you the text messages that Robert sends to me, but if somebody wanted to do a public records request, they would be out there for everybody. But today's a really special day. So we've got a remarkable group of young women who amassed a 33-3 record this year and won the state championship in volleyball. So, Nicole, if you want to bring your entire group up. Y'all come stand back here. We'll have to fit in and let me do the proclamation, then we'll find a way that we can all get in up there. Where's Nicole? There she is. Right, here we go. All right. Whereas the Middle Tennessee Christian High School volleyball team, under the outstanding leadership of Coach Nicole Burks, has exemplified excellence, teamwork, and determination throughout the 2025 season. And the 2024 season, too. And whereas the team achieved a 33-3 record this season, capturing the Division IIA state championship and the TSSAA regional championship, triumphing over teams across the state of Tennessee. Whereas their success represents not only athletic achievement, but also the spirit of dedication, discipline, and sportsmanship, serving as role models for young athletes throughout our entire community. Whereas the team's journey culminated in a strong showing at the TSSAA state championship in Murfreesboro, where they proudly represented our state and our region in a highly competitive state. And whereas Coach Nicole Burks has provided exceptional guidance, mentorship, and committed to her players, shaping not only as champions on the court, but leaders off the court as well. Whereas we recognize and commend the Middle Tennessee Christian High School volleyball team and Coach Nicole Burks for their outstanding accomplishments in bringing to our city, our region, and the sport of volleyball. Now, therefore, I, Shane McFarland, Mayor of the City of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim December 4th Middle Tennessee Christian High School volleyball team in the City of Murfreesboro, and urge all citizens to join in this recognition. And then, real quick, not that, so in tradition, I wish we could introduce everyone, but hopefully we'll get to introduce even more next year. But Nicole, I think you want to introduce your 6 seniors that you've got on your team.
Yeah, we just wanted to thank you for having us here today, and just what an honor it was this season, just a tremendous year, and so thankful for our MTCS community. But I did want to, we had 6 seniors who have been together since 6th grade, and it was just an amazing accomplishment for this team and for them as well. So Anna Clay Shirley, Addison Sane, Bailey Culpepper, Addison Burks, Jada Burns, and Maddie Box. So.
Our resident photographer.
Water bottle. Just sit. All right, I'm going to take 7 pictures, girls. You ready? Here we go. Say pay raise. That's got it.
And y'all, except for Robert, are all free to go. All right, we have another important recognition. I think we have a STARS Award. Randolph?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Tonight, I'm here to recognize the recipient of the STARS Award for the month of October. As you all know, the purpose of the award is to recognize those individuals, those employees of ours who go above and beyond the normal call of duties in doing outstanding customer service to both our internal and external customers. Tonight's recipient is Allison Davidson. Allison saw someone in need and responded with empathy and action and made a difference. In fact, Her quick action probably saved the person's life. As Allison is a program director in the Parks and Recreation Department. She's been with us now for about 22 years. Does an outstanding job. In fact, on a personal note, Allison is one of those individuals that whenever the Human Resources Department puts something together, like an employee event, she's always one of the first to sign up. For example, the annual health fair and the biometric screening. She's always there, and so we appreciate that. I wanted to do some research and find out a little bit more about Allison, so I reached out to Thomas Laird, who's one of the assistant directors at the Parks and Recreation Department, for more personal information about Allison. And by the way, Thomas is also the person who nominated her for this award. He said the following about her. He said, she has become a familiar and trusted face, someone our community counts on by providing motivational, accessible, and premier fitness opportunities. Her dedication to safety is seen in her leadership role as the department's CPR and AED trainer, ensuring that all our staff are fully prepared to respond in emergencies. Thomas shared the following in the nomination form about Allison. On October the 6th, a customer collapsed on the track, and Allison immediately took charge of the situation with remarkable professionalism and composure. She noticed that the individual was not breathing and promptly attached the AED pads to assess the situation. When the AED advised against delivering a shot, Allison began chest compression without hesitation. Her quick action and decisive moves helped the customer regain breathing on his own before the emergency personnel arrived. Allison's expertise, calm demeanor, and ability to act under pressure were instrumental in potentially saving the customer's life, who, by the way, is here tonight. Her dedication to our patrons' well-being exemplifies the high standards of care and professionalism. The customer's son reached out to us to thank the facility for the quick reaction, which, of course, that Allison had a pivotal role in the process. Thomas go on to say, he said, Allison truly deserves this recognition for her outstanding contribution and commitment to ensuring the safety and health of our community. So Allison, not only on behalf of the customer, but also the city of Murfreesboro, we are grateful for your quick action. So on behalf of the mayor, the city council, and the entire city of Murfreesboro, we recognize you and thank you for your quick action.
That's pretty good stuff. And last but not least, thanks to, it was Councilman Shacklett's idea of the Citizens Academy, and had our first one. Several of us got to attend several of them. But we have several people from our inaugural Citizens Academy. So if y'all don't mind, if you participated, if you'd stand up, that'd be great. Thank y'all for coming. We appreciate it. And as promised, Bill's the one who's going to be bringing this through, but it's a discount on your property taxes for this year. So that, if y'all want to hang around, Bill will be the one who'll be presenting that later on tonight. So, thank y'all.
Yes, thank you.
Mayor, if I could just say just a couple of things. Folks, it was a wonderful journey to watch you go through this. You know, it's not often that we get a chance to do something that looks like a win-win-win. I think I told you the first night that a lot of this started from this book by Richard Haas called The Bill of Obligations, that talks about our responsibilities. You know, we have rights as citizens, but we also have responsibilities. And how important it is to recognize and start acting upon that. You know, democracy is not a spectator sport, and you guys, it was so neat to see not only how you interacted with staff, but how you interacted with each other, and you became friends, made friends. And there's a couple of things in this book that I thought. It said, be informed. These are your of the 10 obligations. Be informed, get involved, support the teaching of civics, and respect your government service. And I think the participants, the staff, and our community is the better for you having gone through this. And I just encourage you to continue to be active. But as I told you that last night, now your responsibility is to find someone to pass this knowledge and this appreciation along to the next person. And there's somebody in your sphere of influence that needs to participate in this and value our local government and what our public servants, all of our staff, all of the employees that work on a daily basis for this community, what they do. And I think you all got to see behind the curtain as to how valuable our and what good people we have serving our community. And I want to thank you for being on board for this first journey, and appreciate your efforts.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. You have the consent agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions to the consent, or excuse me, any items that need to be pulled off the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris. Aye. Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right. You have several city council meeting minutes. Any additions or deletions to the minutes?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right. Let's move to old business. You have fiscal year 26 budget amendment.
Yes, we before council approves second reading on the budget amendment, we have a couple of adjustments for you to consider. The first is to budget an additional $300,000 for stop loss insurance in the insurance fund. The second is to budget the use of $175,000 of the school's impact fee out of the impact fee fund for a new school bus. And the third is to add 3 additional employees to the solid waste department's personnel headcount with no increase to the overall department's budget. After council approves these changes, we then recommend approving the budget on second reading.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right. Let's move to land use matters. You have-
We'll still need to approve the ordinance on
Okay.
second reading, I'm sorry.
All right.
So moved. Second.
This is for ordinance 25040. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to land use matters. You have the plan of services, annexation, and zoning for property along Blackman Road. Mr. Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor McFarland, members of the council. The annexation before you tonight is approximately 4 acres and includes 1 2-acre parcel that is owned by the Patels on the east side of Blackman Road and has an existing single-family house on it. This parcel will also be the next item we discuss, as it has a companion rezoning request to rezone it to Shelton Plaza PCD. The annexation area also includes 1.8 acres of right-of-way of Blackman Road that runs from some existing right-of-way that's in the city to the intersection at Burnt Knob and Manson Pike that is already in the city as well. So this and the County Highway Commission reviewed and consented to the annexation of that right-of-way in June of this year. The annexation area touches existing city limits to the north, east, and along its the southern part of the existing right-of-way. Staff has worked and provided a plan of services for you in the agenda packet. Because of its close proximity, it's relatively easy to serve. There's a lone exception with the sewer. The developer will need to work with the neighboring developer of Shelton Square to extend sewer to the property, so they have that available. The council will need to conduct a public hearing on this matter, and I'm happy to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
If there are no questions, we need to conduct a public hearing for the plan of services and the annexation for this 3.95 acres. If you have any when we open the public hearing, if you'll come to the podium, you'll have 3 minutes if you're representing yourself as an individual, 5 minutes if you're representing a group like an HOA. If you'll keep all your comments directed towards us, we'll get those questions answered at the end of the public hearing. All right, this is for the plan of services and annexation. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium.
Hi, City Council. My name is Jared Gee. I am a resident of Shelton Square, and my property backs up to this proposed annexation. I understand this is probably going to go through, so really what I wanted to focus on was the plan development and maybe some changes that can be had.
Mr. Key, right?
What?
Is it Key? Is that right?
Gee, G-E-E.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
so this is just going to be for the plan of services and the annexation, which means that we have the ability to annex it. I think the next public hearing you're going to want to talk is for the zoning.
Okay.
So trust me, I should have announced it. I usually explain that, but
Okay.
so if we're talking about changes to the PRD that's coming up, that's going to be the next public hearing.
Okay, I got you.
So, but you can talk at both of them if you'd like.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I'll do it at the next one. But
No.
should I voice my
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'll just say what I had to say, and it's probably going to be the same thing I say next time. But we'd like to formally express our concern regarding the placement of the proposed daycare and playground within the new commercial development directly behind our home. When we purchased our property, this land was zoned residential, and our decision was based entirely on that understanding. We did not choose to live adjacent to a commercial activity. The zoning change occurred only after we were established in our home. In contrast, future residents who purchase homes surrounding this development will do so with full knowledge that they are choosing to live near a commercial building. Because our circumstances differ slightly, we respectively request that the daycare building and playground be positioned on the opposite side of the development, farther from our property line. Our primary concern is noise. The daycare and playground naturally generates continuous daytime sound, and positioning these elements closer to our home would have a substantial impact in our daily environment as I work from home. Relocating them to the far side of the site would meaningfully reduce the impact and help preserve the peaceful setting that existed when we purchased our home. We appreciate your consideration and ask that the planning process acknowledge the unique position of existing homeowners who are not given the opportunity to choose their proximity to this commercial development. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Key. Anyone else wishing to speak for the plan of services and the annexation? All right, seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and then we're going to consider Resolution 25R PSA 37, and this is for the plan of services and the annexation.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, now we'll consider the rezoning of 2.06 acres simultaneous with annexation.
Thank you again, Mayor McFarland. Let me get to the layout. So this is the companion rezoning for the parcel that was considered an annexation. What this PCD is currently contemplating is a multi-tenant building that currently is proposed to have 2 tenants in it. One of those is a dentist office. One of those was shown in the pattern book. As you can see on the page in front of you, includes a playground and a daycare that's associated with that. There are numerous other uses included in the pattern book as well, outside of those two uses. It's staff's understanding that the dentist is more certain, but the actual uses are tentative, hence the reason the use chart has been provided as part of the PCD book. The site will have two accesses from Blackman Road, as well as a type D buffer that is along the northern edge and the eastern edge of the property. The applicant at Planning Commission's request, and they've updated the pattern book to reflect this as well, has included a type D buffer that includes a fence between the landscape elements. And then a type A buffer is along the southern part of the property. The property also includes adequate parking for all proposed uses. I think there are proposing 63 spaces on the site, which can park any of their proposed uses. The Planning Commission also requested that we included the use table from the village's PCD, which is just north along Blackman Road, that has commercial elements. I believe there was a hard copy that was provided to you as well. Those uses are very similar, not an exact copy of what's proposed in this, but very similar to what is proposed in the Shelton my apologies, they've changed the name on this several times. Shelton Plaza PCD. So as far as surrounding land uses, to the north is Shelton Square, which is a single-family detached residential development. The Villages is located here. It has both components that are commercial and single-family detached. You have Shelton Grove, and I may have inadvertently, this is Shelton Square. Shelton Grove is here to the east. And then on the south of this property and to the east is property that is zoned RM within and is remaining within the county. Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on October 1st and recommended the PCD for approval. Mr. Clyde Roundtree here is to give the council a brief presentation on the PCD as well. And after he finishes, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that the council may have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Mr. Roundtree.
Mayor, Commissioners, Council members, my name is Clyde Roundtree, Hollis Steel Engineering. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you Shelton Plaza. I'm on here on behalf of Mr. Ritesh Patel, who is the owner-developer of the property, and his brother is here as well, and the architect is here as well. So with that being said, Richard did a good job in an overview of the project. It is a 14,000 square foot commercial building that we're proposing. And right now, as was mentioned, we do have a solid tenant with a pedestrian dental care. That's just one of the, Mr. Patel's brother. That's his business, currently located in Clarksville, so he's bringing that business to Murfreesboro. So we're excited about having that service in town. As far as the child care center, that is something that we're pursuing. We have not secured a tenant for that particular use, but it does come in place since Mr. Geet had a concern about that. As Richard mentioned, there is adjacent residential to the north and to the east, and county zoning to the west. We do believe that everything to the south is going to trend towards commercial, heading towards Burnt Knob Road. So that's something for us to watch as a city as we see more development on this corridor. As was mentioned, the 2035 plan shows this as business park, and we feel like we're consistent with what is recommended by the 2035 plan. As far as sewer, Richard mentioned that we're going to have to pursue sewer coming in from the east. We show a little stub where that's located on that diagram to the right. Shows up as a red mark going into the site. Ingress and egress, there's 2 ingress points off of Blackman Road. Blackman Road is going to be improved, and we've committed in our process to work with the road plans and improvements on design with our site plan submittal. So we have committed to make sure that the road alignment, the new road alignment, the new improvements are consistent with what we're doing on our site, and we're tying into that appropriately. Overall, as was mentioned, it's a 2-acre site, 14,000 square foot building. We have stormwater management on the northern side of the property up against Mr. Gee's property, and that's where that playground is shown as well. The thought process there was that we wanted to make sure that create a maximum amount of distance between us and the residential. We feel like by having the pond there, having the playground there, we're creating distance. That's really the strategy. If we flipped it, the only challenge would be that the dumpster would end up on the other side of the building. The dumpster, working with staff, has had several renditions. We've dropped it as deep as we can, we believe, on the side to the south, making sure we're trying to keep it obscure. And it will obviously have masonry siding, have, screen doors, but that's really kind of the layout that has worked. So we are thinking that the child care center would be on that northern side of the building if we secure a child care tenant. If not, that just becomes green space for the future. The building is only 14,000 square feet. It's not going to be 16,000 square feet because we park this adequately, but we really don't have room for any more parking. So we feel like we're locked into the 14,000 square feet. So if it's not the child care center, that would go back to green space. Architecturally, we're sensitive to the Murfreesboro standards with all masonry buildings, defined base, undulating fronts, varied roof lines, variation materials. So we feel like we've covered that from an aesthetic standpoint, from the design guidelines. And the biggest change was adding a buffer, unique buffer actually. It's still a type D buffer, but with the feedback we got from Planning Commission, we are actually sandwiching, and you can see it on this drawing, there's a line between the 2 rows of evergreen. So the trees will sandwich the fence versus the fence being on Mr. Gee's side or on the commercial side. It's actually sandwiched between the buffer, between the 2 evergreen rows. So Mr. Gee will see evergreen tree and the PVC fence, and then basically it'll be the same view from both sides. So that's kind of different. Usually it's the fence is on one side or the other. But in this particular case, we got the direction to put it in the middle. So kind of excited about that. But it is type D buffers around the northern side, the eastern side. On the southern side, we're having a type A buffer because we are anticipating that being commercial in the future. We also have enhanced screening for the parking along Blackman Road, so that's what's shown out in front to make sure that any parking scenarios we're trying to soften any parking from the main right-of-way. They also came up was making sure that the lighting was something that wouldn't infringe upon the neighbors to the north. And we explained that the lighting requirements and the foot candles off-site are very minimal. Light shield technology's been very advanced, so we want to make sure any lighting would not negatively impact the neighbors to the north. And as far as uses are concerned, we eliminated any drive-throughs, gas station fuel sales, as far as retail shops, no tobacco, vape, or dispensaries, no tattoo parlors, no liquor stores, and no school. We don't really have the parking for a school, and it's not a great location for a small private school. So with that being said, that's the extent of the presentation. I'm here for any questions you may have. I'm more than happy to come out after the public hearing if there's anything I can answer more directly.
Any questions for Mr. Roundtree? All right, we need to hold a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sadie Rangaraj, and I live at 5721 Eaglemont Drive in Shelton Square. So I live directly next to Mr. Gee. He is my neighbor, and I am actually kitty corner to the lot that we're talking about today. I just want to begin by acknowledging that I understand that the development plans behind the homes have already progressed, investment has been made, their major changes may not be feasible today. However, my goal is to just articulate similar concerns as Mr. Gee on the noise level, the privacy, especially related to where our homes reside. So for those of you who are not familiar with Shelton Square, Shelton Square actually has different subcommittees or sub-developments within it. The estate series actually sits where our property is. So all of these homes are bigger lots, they're larger homes, and the price range from them is $850,000 to $1.7 million, just closed the other day. So we all know that these are huge financial decisions, these are huge property values, and that what's directly next to them is impacted by what is in the neighborhood. So these proposed changes dramatically alter the expectations that we have living there, and how it impacts the way that the neighborhood is in general. I also want to note that these concerns were not just our own, they were also part of a larger petition that we had within the community. Over 200 residents petitioned not to do this, that we brought towards the planning committee in October. That said, if the development is going to move forward regardless, my request is very simple. I just require that the standards are at the very highest that we can possibly obtain, that the noise is reduced where possible, privacy protection, and then visual buffering is also there. I knew that when I moved in that my property behind me, that the trees would be removed and that Shelton Grove would be there. I'm sad that the trees are gone, but at the same time, I knew that those lots would be larger lots. So those lots are all estate series. They're all at least a third of an acre. And I also thought that the property where Jared lives would also be residential. So the daycare itself will be loud. I also work from home. I would prefer that that would be relocated on the other side of the building if that is the direction that we go. And I also asked that, I know we talked about the buffering within there, but if Shelton Grove has to have any buffering between our community and their community, I ask that that same buffering is carried over. So whether that's a tree line or anything else, I would appreciate that as well. So in closing, I'm not saying I want the project to stop. I think we're well past that, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that the standards for noise, privacy, and visual appearance are continually obtained.
Thank you so much. She?
I echo what Sadie said, so I don't feel like I have to say any more. I feel like you guys know where I stand. So yeah, I appreciate you guys taking that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against? Okay, seeing none, we'll consider on first reading ordinance 25 OZ 37. And I would say you made some good comments about trees, and the city council really over the last 90 days, we've had significant discussion about trees and developments. The development that's behind you was one that we had lots of discussion on trees remaining, and then we've had other developments that when developers talk about preserving and maintaining tree lines, that sometimes that doesn't happen. And so we are working really hard on how we address that. So
I think for peace of mind, for the planning department, this will actually have a better buffer than the other development behind this, correct? Since it's residential to residential.
Yeah, with the residential to residential, there's no required buffer there. This will have a required buffer because it is commercial to residential.
Yeah, thank you.
What is the distance, I don't know, Mr. Gee or Mr. Roundtree, are you, what is the distance between his house? Am I saying 10 feet? Is that accurate?
Yeah. You're talking about that northern setback?
Northern side, yeah.
Side setback, yes. It is at 10 feet, is what is shown there as the setback.
Any consideration for moving that to the other side as was requested?
You know, I would leave that to the applicant to respond to. It's within the purview of this body, though, to require that if that's how the body feels.
So which one is in the cul-de-sac? There's two houses that this butts up to.
If I'm remembering correct, that is Mr. Gee's house.
Okay, and how far is, I can't see the geo, or see the aerial because of the type D buffer, the labeling, but.
Yes. So, Mr. Mayor, there is a 10-foot required setback there, but, and I failed to mention this, it will be overridden by the 15-foot required type D buffer that they're proposing. So they'll never be up against that setback. The buffer will be the default setback there with the type D. Then you would get to the playground, if that's.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking, so, but isn't there typically a 35-foot rear setback, or a 30-foot rear setback?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering.
So in this case, the rear is looked at as this.
No, I'm not talking about this
house.
property, I'm talking about
the house.
Yeah.
That is a PRD. I am not sure off the top of my head what setback requirements are in that PRD.
Okay. I mean, I've been wrong before, but I've never, typically side setbacks will be changed in a PRD. I've not really ever seen rear setbacks changed. Maybe it is. That looks really close to the.
Really tight.
And that's what I'm saying is like 10 feet from the property line, that's pretty tight.
Understand. I would have to look into that and see what that requirement is.
Now, given the visual, it seems like that's to me, it would cause a change. I would look at a change as opposed, because that's pretty, I don't care what kind of buffer you put there, 10 feet from your back door is going to cause a noise problem, particularly if they're small children. I've got 4 grandchildren, so I know how noisy they can be. So I don't know what kind of noise mediation, or if there's something to be considered, or like they had suggested, moving it to the other side of the building where you have more separation.
I can't remember. Was this the one in planning commission that we talked about putting a fence to the north and the east?
It is. It is sandwiched in that buffer. So there's evergreen trees on either side. The fence will be in between the evergreen buffer.
All right, thank you.
So, being staffed, what's the standard setback?
30.
So they typically in all of our residential districts, it's 20 unless there was an exception in that PRD, which I would have to pull to verify that. It was approved prior to my time with the city.
I mean, it's there, so. Yeah. I mean, we're getting ready to have discussions. I know the planning team's been working on lot coverage on lots. So, I mean, this like pops out to me when you look at this house and you look at the lot size that there's, especially with a 10-foot rear setback, there's a lot of coverage on, so. Any other questions? While everybody's thinking, I did forget, we did not have anyone sign up for public comment tonight. So
Correct.
thought I'd say that to break the uncomfortable silence. Right? So,
Thank you, Mayor.
So the applicant has agreed that they're willing to flip the building where the child care would be in the southern portion if they get a commitment from that, and we can get a updated pattern book before second reading for the council.
it's there.
With that, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Tucker, please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to item 14, rezoning along East Burton Street and North Spring Street.
Good evening, council. This particular item before you is a existing site in our CCO City Court Overlay District that had a site plan approved on the site a couple years ago. And from this particular map, this map shows our existing downtown North Highlands area, and the property, subject property, is in what's called the Downtown Central Business District, or what's considered our future vision area for commercial type uses. The project that's approved there is a 3-unit townhome complex with a office space on the ground floor of each of those 3 units. And the applicant, as they've been working towards trying to start construction, wanted to have some other opportunities available in that commercial space down on the first floor. Currently, a home occupation would be the only kind of commercial business that can be allowed in that RM district. So as we looked at this particular policy document, we actually suggested to this applicant to file for a OGR. Zone amendment, as you can see from this aerial map, to the south is zoned OGR. To the north is RM12, and across the street there are some RS8 zoned properties. But again, looking at those long-range plans, that would be consistent with his application. As we looked at it and had a public hearing before the Planning Commission, they did recommend approval for it to go from a RM12 and CCO zone district to an OGR and CCO zone district, which would allow some additional commercial opportunities at that site. And this particular site also, because it's within 750 feet of a parking structure, has the ability by right with our zoning code to have a 75% reduction of parking for the commercial type use. The applicant is here should there be any questions, and this has been a notice public hearing for your consideration, and if you have any further questions, please let me know.
Any questions for Holly? All right, seeing none, we need to open the public hearing for the rezoning of this 0.29 acres. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll now consider on first reading ordinance 25OZ38.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move to item 15, rezoning of property along Bridge Avenue and New Salem Highway. Holly.
This particular item, you might all be aware of, is directly adjacent to the city's new transit facility that is now open and operational. Our staff has been working diligently over several years for a park and ride facility that would complement the uses at our facility, as well as allow WeGo some access to that closer facility. In looking at this, currently the property is zoned residential, so the only way a standalone parking lot is allowed citywide is it has to be a PND. No other zone district allows a standalone parking lot, and so that's what they've applied for, and that would actually amend the city's planned institutional district program book to include the park and ride facility along with it. As you can see, adjacent to the site is CH Zone District, directly adjacent to it, and then across the street is also CH Zone District, and this is also adjacent to the new improvements at New Salem Highway and Bridge Avenue that have widened some of those improvements for the right turn lane through that particular area. As we're looking at, this was our original transit center book. They have updated the appropriate pages within this booklet to include that property in all of their renderings, as well as update with the new improvements on the highway. This is the layout for the entirety of the plan. This portion is the part that we're looking at adding to our PND book, and because it is being added to it, it's also amending the remainder of the book, which this book in its entirety will replace the old one. We have not changed anything on the city's side of things other than the location of some of the fencing. So part of the work with the transit division is they've worked to have additional fencing at this location and this location to fence off the city's kind of break room area, and this is that area where drivers would come in to the physical site. But then from a accessibility is ADA parking is provided at this portion of the site. New sidewalk has already been built here, but it would have a new opening that would provide here so that a rider can go from this location to the facility to utilize the services. Otherwise, they could potentially park at this location, walk here, and there is a gate opening that's available here during the regular hours of our facility, is what's anticipated. Fencing type, there is a current fencing between our two properties. What they are requesting is a exception from the perimeter planting yard between the two properties. Really, we want to maintain an open visual through there for safety and security of the site. The site, they're also looking at including 2 security cameras in site, but here's that kind of 0-foot internal setback that they're looking at, and the other setbacks would change, and our site actually changed as far as the type of landscape buffering that we would be required to have on the site. So here you can see the revised landscaping, and as we built our project, we made sure and we accounted for assuming that this site would change, which meant that we didn't have to have as much of a heavy buffer landscaping at this location and these locations on the site. So it's definitely been a work in progress, and now this is the actual fruition to get everything in place. By the way, the applicant is not presenting. That's why I'm going into such detail today, so you will not have a separate presentation. And really, the only exceptions that they're requesting is 1, removing that interior perimeter planting yard, and 2, no perimeter planting yard will exist, will exist between the two, and then that our lighting requirements be allowed to be more than the 0.5 candle watts, because this is where their sidewalk is. We want to have that actually lit up. And with that, there are, I believe, WeGo. Kia is here should you have any questions from the WeGo transit facility. And for those in the public that don't know, WeGo already serves our community currently at the mall, service between Murfreesboro and Nashville. So with that, in the last page, I can't rotate it easily. This is actually their site layout for their plan, which again, they have incorporated 2 things I forgot to note, is a little additional right-of-way at this location, not for today because there's a lot of utilities in the way, but should we want to widen that for that right turn lane to be a little bit longer, it could be accommodated with this, and then we'll make sure that no new facilities are included there. And then they've incorporated a lot more landscaping at the front to pull this distance further away from the street. And that is in lieu of the landscaping we would have seen along this frontage. So with that, if you have any other questions on this particular application, we're asking for a public hearing and a consideration of a zone change for this property.
Any questions for Ms. Smith? All right, seeing none, we need to hold a public hearing for the rezoning of this 6.12 acres. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We'll now consider on first reading ordinance 25OZ39.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Skels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to item 16, sewer allocation variance on Joe B. Jackson Parkway for a McDonald's.
So normally you wouldn't see me here, but because I had these other 2 items, I'm presenting the sewer allocation variance for this property. Staff has been working with McDonald's at the corner of Joe B. Jackson and Elam Farms on the south side of the street for a new McDonald's at that location. There was included in the packet a preliminary site plan layout. We've seen and talked to our public infrastructure, and they are looking at traffic already for the site, but they have not yet submitted their due diligence pre-application applications. But we do anticipate, should council approve this evening, that they will be most likely be submitting in the next 30 to 40 days their formal application for this site, which is already zoned highway commercial, but it would need a sewer allocation. In looking at it, most of our fast food restaurants do take a higher allocation. This particular 1.51 acre site only has the ability to have 4 single-family units per equivalent acre. This one needs a little bit more than that, and so they are requesting an additional 3.18 SFUs, so that they would have a total 9.2 SFUs, which is what they similarly use at 3 of their other locations here in town. MWRD has determined that they do have sewer capacity to serve that particular site, and from a council priority, we believe that the restaurant would help create jobs within the community, as well as be able to provide additional food options, adjacent industrial uses as we continue to expand employment in and around this area. So with that, if you have any questions, I don't know if there's a representative from the applicant. Perfect. Is here in the audience should you have any questions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we have another sewer allocation variance on Alumni Drive for MTSU on-campus housing.
So this one is a little bit larger of a sewer allocation. You may not realize it, but Planning Commission a couple months back approved this 552-bed complex for new student housing at MTSU. Over the last several years, there have been multiple projects that have taken offline some of the student housing, and so this project is the first to kind of replace some of that housing, and then they're planning for this future maximum beds for roughly about 2,000 beds in total. Phasing, I'm not sure, but there is a representative in the audience should you have a question about their phasing on that. But the current project is already been approved for the 558 beds with their garage structure for that particular project. And they are demolishing 13 buildings, I believe, and 1 amenity building of current housing, which is about 220 to 50 units that they're taking offline in this direct area. So they are requesting to have additional units, 676 SFUs is what it equates to. Dormitory housing, I believe they did some special calculations to convert what those would be in the SFUs. And of course, Valerie is here in case there's any questions, as well as MTSU should you have specific questions. And we believe that the council priorities that are served on here is that it potentially reduces the reliance of off-campus student housing, which we've heard many times, and Planning Commission was very happy to see the new project coming forward so that that continues to serve the campus better, which also serves our community better. So with that, if you have any questions, they are looking at a sewer allocation increase for 676 units, and that would handle the current approval and the future anticipated approvals.
Any questions? All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to,
Thank you, Council.
on ordinance. Thank you, Holly. We have ordinance 25041, amendment to the ethics code.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Ordinance 25041 would amend the city's ethics code by clarifying the exceptions to the code's general provision on the acceptance of gift by city officials and employees. In September 2024, City Council adopted a new ethics code, and Section 321 of that code deals primarily with the acceptance of gifts by city officials and employees. Some of the exceptions in that section were identified by reference to state law. Over the course of the year, however, I've fielded several questions from city employees where they found that reference confusing. and hard to determine what was permissible and what was not permissible. So it's my recommendation that we remove the reference to state law and instead spell out the specific exceptions to that general prohibitions, and therefore allow employees and officials more clarity in terms of determining what is permissible and what's not permissible. In terms of what is, from a material standpoint, in terms of what is material, what is permissible and what's not permissible, this ordinance really doesn't change anything. It just adds clarity to officials and employees and to the public. Happy to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend this for your approval.
Can you give an example?
What, an example of what?
Where we are changing.
No, we're
Oh,
so.
I see. No, I see.
Okay.
I didn't read it clearly.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to on motion Patterson Park improvements. This is the final change order.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm here on behalf of staff to seek approval for the final balance and change order for the Patterson Park Outdoor Improvement Project with Fuel Tank Maintenance Company. This project began in March of 2025 and includes the new playground, splash pad, and parking improvements that makes Patterson Park more accessible and more enjoyable for our residents. Change order number 3 removes unused item allowances and the remaining balance and contingency, adds a new irrigation system, reimburses the city for contractor delays, and credits the S&W bill for electrical repairs that were made. With these adjustments and a 53-day time extension, a total credit of $202,547 is returned to the city, bringing the final contract amount to $2,572,229. This closes out the project and staff recommends approval. I can answer any questions at this time.
That's pretty easy. I move for
Pretty
approval.
easy, huh?
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to item, thanks, Scott. Item 20, TDOT for fiscal year, contract with TDOT for fiscal year 25 operating assistance. Mr. Bashir.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Transportation Department is recommending your approval of a contract with TDOT for FY26 operating funds. Each year, the state allocates transit funds to systems across the state. This year's allocation of $1,149,300 represents the largest amount Murfreesboro has received. Our overall funding breakdown for operating cost is 50% federal, 40% state, and 10% local. These funds greatly reduce the city's cost for operating the transit service. If exercised, the city's portion of the contract will be $274,650. These funds are appropriately accounted for in the department's FY26 budget. So again, we recommend the approval of this contract, and I'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to item 21, CIP transfers. Aaron.
This item's for information only. It typically is presented at the workshop meeting. No vote is needed. I'm happy to answer any questions, though.
Any questions for Aaron? All right, let's move to item 22, the purchase of a fairway mower and sprayer. Mr. Adams.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight, I'm just asking you to consider the purchase of a fairway mower and a sprayer from Lads Golf and Turf LLC They are on state contract. They are replacing existing equipment. The fairway mower we're replacing, I believe, was purchased in 2003, and the sprayer is from 2011. The total purchase amount is $223,859, and it is funded from the FY26 CIP. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye, thank you, Trey. All right, let's move to item 23, health benefit service agreements for 2026. Mr. Wilkerson.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. You have before you a request to approve for 3 health benefit service agreements for 2026. The first agreement is with Sonic Boom Wellness. The agreement will do an amendment to the current program by adding a virtual fitness platform to allow employees to access training videos, exercise programs through their mobile device, home computers or TVs or things of that nature. The cost for this additional service is only about $4,000 annually. The second agreement is with MedOne to administer the city's pharmacy benefits program. After a competitive RFCSP process of qualified organization, staff selected MedOne. The first year administrative cost is a little over $75,000. It has an annual 3-year agreement. Over 3 years, the cost looking at a little bit over $226,000. There is a projected net savings associated with this, about 8.3%, which estimated at $670,000. This will be achieved through reducing prescription drugs and improving the clinical management process. The last and final agreement is with Blue Reed of Tennessee for the purchase of stop-loss insurance. Stop-loss protects high-cost individual medical claims exceeding $150,000. The city issued an invitation to bid for stop-loss insurance. Only one bid was received and it was accepted, which was Blue Reed. The estimated cost is about almost $1.4 million. Purchasing a stop-loss is a financial strategy to ensure that we mitigate any outside or extra costs going to our insurance fund. These agreements will be funded by the city's FY26 insurance fund. With that said, staff is requesting your approval to move forward with all three of these agreements. I'm available for any questions you may have at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye, thank you, Randolph. All right, let's look at Thompson Lane widening appraisal contract revisions. Ms. Smith.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I wanted to start off by giving you an update of our easement and appraisal statuses for Thompson Lane. Initially, we started out with 99 easements that we had to obtain for the 4-mile project. Since we began obtaining easements, TDOT here recently agreed to allow us to move a portion of our sewer main into the roadway instead of in easements. And that was along the frontage of 17 properties, which took away 17 easements that we were going to have to obtain. So our new total in easements is 82 for the project. We have acquired 32 of those and have 50 remaining. Staff has been working closely with legal, and legal has initially requested appraisals for 33 of those parcels, leaving the 17. And now legal has, we had 17 that we thought that we could negotiate and obtain those easements without going to court over those. But moving into the holidays and with TDOT's tight timeline to bid the project, which is they are planning to open bids in June of 2026, we felt it best to move forward with approval of getting the additional 17 in case they are needed and that we can't negotiate those easements. And so if we have to negotiate, if we can't negotiate those easements and we have to move forward with eminent domain, an appraisal is needed. So we would already have that appraisal. So the initial expense, well, legal asked for 3 different appraisers to give pricing on the appraisals based on residential and commercial. And that would not also overload any one appraiser. And of these appraisers, which is Gregory Peck, Ted Boozer, and Rhett Turner, they were able to give us a 60-day turnaround on the appraisals. That was for the initial first 33 of $127,500, and you can see the breakdown of how, who had what, how many properties, and the cost of those. The additional 17 expense is $66,750, and you can see also by the bottom portion, bottom right portion of this slide, the additional easements that were given to each and the cost for each, bringing our total expense of $194,250. And today we are asking for the additional expense. The first expense was underneath the amount of city manager's approval. So we are requesting approval for the additional expense of $66,750 tonight.
So moved.
Second. Second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
All right. Thank you, Valerie. All right, let's move to a memorandum of understanding with the town of Smyrna, Rutherford County, and the city of Laverne.
Mayor, members of council, tonight I would request that you would consider the MOU between the city, the town of Smyrna, Rutherford County, and the city of Laverne to share in the cost of a study to explore the benefits of a consolidated emergency communications center. Council approved an MOU on September 18th of 2025 with Smyrna and Rutherford County to collaborate on a study to evaluate the feasibility of unifying emergency communications centers. The city of Laverne has now expressed interest in joining this study, which requires a revised agreement. The MOU would allow the parties to share in the cost of a study with a maximum cost of $35,000 each. Purchasing guidelines will be followed once the MOU is executed by all parties. The maximum expense of $35,000 is funded by the department's FY26 operating budget. And I can answer any questions you may have.
I just want to make a quick comment that I got the opportunity day before yesterday to speak to the Fire Inspectors Association, and one of the things that we talked about was that we're always better when we work together as opposed to against each other. And I've had the opportunity to see both sides, and it's much better when we're in a situation where we are right now where everyone's working together. So I think it's important to note when you have the city fire chiefs, the city police chiefs of all the municipalities, and you've got the county commission, you've got the delegation in Laverne, the delegation in Smyrna, county commission, everyone's working together. And so I think it's extremely important that we continue to do that. So thank you all for bringing this to us.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Thank you. All right, we now have the purchase of Pierce fire trucks. Chief McCluskey. Chief, and we want to, all the council, let you know we're very sorry about the passing of your brother.
Been a pretty tough week. Tonight I come before you and asking for approval to purchase 3 new aerial fire trucks from Sid and Martin Emergency Group through the Sourcewell contract through Oshkosh. The first aerial we're looking at will be completed in 17 to 18 months, with the other 2 remaining anticipated with the delivery of 35 to 36 months. All these 3 new trucks will be assigned frontline trucks. It's to replace 2 that is coming up on their replacement time, and one of them will be for Station 12 that's to be open in the near future. Also, acquiring these new apparatuses, it will allow us to maintain our compliance with NFPA 1901 standards for automotive fire apparatus and meets our ISO benchmark requirements. The total cost of these trucks is $5,952,000 funded through our general fund as approved in the fiscal year 26 CIP. This amount does include the $491 prepaid discount. I'm available for any questions that we may have on these.
Any questions for Chief?
Mayor, I do want to point out that I'll be bringing a reimbursement resolution to council next week in case we decide to reimburse from future bills. But since we're paying for these, prepaying for these so far in advance of receiving them, it makes sense to fund out a general fund for now.
Yes.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to also point out Oshkosh Company that's out on off of Joe B. Jackson is a sister company to Pierce. So with this approval, our cabs will be made here in Murfreesboro and sent to Wisconsin to be put together for our new fire trucks.
Awesome.
So
Great, great. You think they need help in assembling those? We'll be glad to come out and help them out there.
garbage trucks.
Yeah, we saw one of those come in our neighborhood not too long ago, an electric garbage truck. All right, item 27, Chris Griffith is not here tonight, so I think.
Yeah, Chris had a personal issue to take care of this evening, so I'll be covering this. This is considering the acquisition for the purchase of right-of-way for the Rutledge Way extension. I know everybody's probably getting a little tired of the back and forth on this particular item, but I do feel like it's my job to kind of point some things out and give you all kind of a proper frame of reference. So there's only 3 items, and I'll be quick. On a global scale, a major thoroughfare plan establishes the strategic connectivity of our road network, right, to accomplish orderly development and proactively create a readiness for growth. So the main goal is really to create efficient movement of people and goods. It is not influenced by who owns what property, and while it does recognize environmental constraints, there are times certain environmentally sensitive areas can't be avoided, especially as our city becomes more and more developed. So in that vein, the environmental permitting has been acquired for this project, as has all the right-of-way purchased except for the subject property. So we're at about $313,000 in for wetland mitigation, $280,000 payment for waste management right-of-way, and $1.3 million for the Columbia Neon right-of-way. So this project has been identified on our major thoroughfare plan as a committed project, which really means our traffic demand model has balanced the traffic loading on our road network and sized the laneage of other road improvements in anticipation of this connection being made. And if we don't make the connection, we'll just have to go back. We're going to have to adjust the model and resubmit it to TDOT. But I thought those were some salient factors that needed to be reinforced tonight. However the council would like to proceed, staff is here to move forward with your decision.
Before we discuss this, I talked to Adam about something earlier. I don't have to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. My uncle is Jim Smythe's counsel. It does not fall into the, Adam can go into more of that, but I don't make any money off of it. It's not my direct family, and I'm actually voting against his best interest. So, Adam, I'll let you clear that up.
Sure. I'll just for the record, Mr. Wright did contact me today, and he did ask whether his participation in discussion about this matter and voting on this matter would be permissible under state law and the city ethics code. And it's my determination that, given everything that I know, that does not constitute a direct or indirect conflict of interest under state law that would preclude either of those things, and nor does it create an issue under the city ethics code. And Mr. Wright has done what is sufficient under the city code in terms of disclosing this connection to Mr. Smythe's, or to his uncle, and that his uncle represents Mr. Smythe.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Any discussion?
You know, and I've mentioned this in another situation out on Salem. Looking at the long term, it's not just what we do, it's when we do it that's important. And I've struggled over this because, but I happened to go out there today and look at this particular area and trying to figure out what there's some impact that we just don't know, and it's our best guess as to what that's going to mean. Each of our decisions, accessing an industrial area to a residential area. It may not be the shortest route. It may not be in every instance the most efficient route, but it is an alternative. So we can't really make that judgment as to what industrial traffic is going to be thrown back onto our residential areas. So my thought is we need the north-south connection. And I fully support that connection that's being proposed. But I think we could wait and hold on that extension into Rutledge Way. It is there. We own that property. There is some other issues. It is wetlands, and I realize we've already spent that money to mitigate the wetlands. But I think the dollars don't necessarily equate to quality of life and the safety issues that we might be putting on Warrior Drive. I think anybody goes out to Warrior Drive now, I think when the traffic study was done, it was several years ago. When was that traffic study done?
2021.
2021, 4 years ago, and I so many things were such a dynamic community. Things have changed. I would like to see what benefit we get from that north-south connector. We still have that property. We still have the option to be able to make that connection if it seems like we haven't gained enough benefit from that north-south traffic. And it gives us maybe a little time to do some improvement to Warrior Drive. I think the expansion of Warrior Drive and some improvements to that area, given what I've seen, need to be addressed as well. Some improvements to Warrior Drive as well. So anyway, I'm more inclined to move towards the north-south connector to Church Street and Warrior Drive, and hold in abatement the connection back to Rutledge Way as something. It's still an alternative, but it's not something that we necessarily move forward without knowing what benefit we're going to draw off of that north-south Church Street and Warrior Drive connector. So anyway, that's where I stand, and so I'm not sure what would be required or what you're looking forward to, but that's kind of where I'm standing.
Yeah, Bill, I lived on the south side of town for 15 years until 2.5 years ago, so I know all well of the traffic out there off Church Street and Warrior Drive. And just for consistency sake, last night at the conceptual workshop on a different project, I spoke about taking industrial traffic through a residential area when we spoke about the project off Broad Street. And when you look at all the traffics that south part of town has already, yes, the north-south connector is needed, but I have a major problem with taking that industrial commercial traffic down Warrior Drive. And like you said, an option's an option, and we hope that they would take the right option that would avoid this residential area and the school and things like that. But popping off an interstate, going down a 5-lane highway, coming down a major thoroughfare, and then down that bridge would be a lot better than taking a bunch of little itty-bitty 2-lane roads with no shoulders through an industrial area back to like it is currently. So I don't like, I'm with you. I don't like the connection. I don't want to put the pavement down on the wetland area.
I also agree, and when would there be sidewalks? Have we talked about putting sidewalks on Warrior?
I don't know that that's scheduled. I don't know when that would be scheduled. I know it's not on our current, Michelle, you want to address that?
Is on our current, or is on the major transportation plan for improvements, but it's not currently funded. So it is those improvements are planned to be made, just not funded right now.
Thank you. And what about, in the future, are we talking about widening Warrior?
Yes, ma'am, that's the improvements.
Same thing, okay.
Yeah, that's the improvements on the major transportation plan to Warrior.
I got you. Thank you.
Can we get since the traffic study you're talking about was done in '21, and we want to, wasn't going to say anything, but hearing what you're talking about that we've spent on right-of-way acquisition, that we've spent on wetlands mitigation, that we've probably spent on engineering so far, can we get over the next couple of months, as we look at this north-south, can we get updated data to make a decision at some point where we look at the models that you're talking about without this connection or with this connection? So, if we defer or not do this tonight, which is totally fine, the will of the council on this and fine, but I think it would be good to get information and update that traffic plan. And I don't disagree with Sean. I think Sean's got some very good points, but I think it's also, I went out there today as well. It's not all industrial traffic that's out there now. So what you're seeing in these industrial parks, you're seeing facilities like DBAT, the hitting facility, where they can't build anywhere else, so they go in these facilities, and there's no industrial traffic that's at that facility with the amount of kids that are coming in and out of there, the beauty salon, or a lot of the places that people are locating in these industrial areas that are not driving semi-trucks. They're driving cars just like we are, detail shops, there's all kinds of things. So I think it'd be good to get the data back. And, I will say the applicant or the individual that we've been talking to on the property, I respect Mr. Smythe and his family a lot. I do think it is important to note, though, that we just approved a rezoning request for the city where we're doing a parking lot and we're paving that, we're landscaping that, we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do. And we just need to make sure that, that we're maintaining those things. So I think it'd be good to get the data. I'm in agreement with Bill and Sean and Madeline that if we want to wait, and I'm totally fine with that. So, but as we update that traffic models, we need to get that information.
Yes, we can absolutely do that. I don't know the, you say 60 days, that may be kind of quick, but we can definitely expedite it and have somebody jump on it.
We have a motion?
My only thought is the data says one thing, but a road tells you actual information. So I mean, I don't know. I'm tied to the idea of, yes, it's always good to have more information, but until that road's built, we don't really know how much benefit is we're going to yield. We just know that we've. I mean, the data's fine. Go ahead and do the data, I guess. But I think I'm more inclined to direct staff to move forward with the concept of the Church Street Warrior Drive connection than say somehow everything holds back for another 6 months or.
So are y'all saying, I want to make, because we talked about last night that we were talking about building and stubbing the road, but not connecting Rutledge, because we've already gone through wetlands mitigation, we've already gone through the engineering and approval, and so for me, I think it makes sense to build the road and stop it and not connect it to Rutledge, that other 300 or 400 feet. But if we don't do that, or so I'm confused. Are we saying not do it at all?
That connector, at this point, I guess there's another thing in the back of my mind, which I haven't resolved yet, because having gone out there and seen this, and before I went out there today, I didn't see what was available there. The wetlands are not just a bunch of soggy ground out there. There's something special about that area that it kind of caught my eye, and I think there may be another opportunity for a pocket. And I understand, I've talked to Nate a little bit about this, so it may not be practical to do it, but it is almost like that pond out there that we're talking about taking off the options for our community is almost like a, what did we say, Nashville? Radnor Lake. It is almost like that. And I've lived here all my life, and I didn't realize it was there. And we're talking about a piece of property that looks very similar, at least to me, like a miniature Radnor Lake. And I just am concerned that I don't want to miss an opportunity to value a piece of property that might have some other uses for our community. And if we exercise that idea of putting that road piece in, basically you've given up the opportunity for that. And that's why I'm saying go ahead with the road, the extension over the interstate, go ahead and make the connector, let that infrastructure get in place, and see what it does. See if we do need that connector.
Vice Mayor, there will be that pond will be impacted by the east-west connector. I mean, it's going to go over the southern part of that pond. So there will be a component of that pond that's impacted with just getting the bridge over I-24. Just so you know.
Okay.
So, I think we all heard what Chris had to say. I think we all seen how much money we spent on this project so far. My suggestion is, as Jamie's not here, Austin's not here, the mayor just made a statement about getting a traffic study. I went out there and looked as well. There's not heavy traffic out there. If you go and look at every entity that's out there, it's not heavy traffic at all. I suggest we defer until the traffic study comes back in. And if you're going to expedite the traffic study, and then let's bring it back to the table.
And we could show some delineation as well, Vice Mayor, on some slope easements and where the touchdown points are with the road going east-west, how it's going to impact that pond too, to give a better visual of actually kind of, I remember back when we were doing, Mr. Haley wanted us, when it was Wilkinson Pike, he wanted us to go out and survey it and put 2-inch conduit at the elevation that the new road was going to be. So when you drove down the old road, you could see the the elevation of the new road. We could do something and have some survey out there to kind of show where, what's going to really be impacted by just if you did the full, just the east-west between Church and Warrior.
I think that's the only path forward then. If, where we're at is to let's do the study but don't move forward with the connector now. I'm not sure what if we voted, I mean, if somebody made a motion that we just do the Church Street, that may Church Street Warrior connection, I'm not sure. I'd be interesting to have Jamie and Austin's opinion on that. I kind of agree with you.
If I may add something, there is a pending condemnation proceeding for the right-of-way for the extension of Rutledge Way down to the extension of Rutherford Boulevard. And depending on what council's will is tonight, the legal department needs some clarification as to how to proceed in that, whether we proceed to acquire the entire right-of-way at this time, whether we build it or not at this time, or whether we simply acquire the right-of-way to build the alternative of the cul-de-sac option, which of cul-de-sac of Rutledge Way, which was presented at the November workshop. But if it's just a matter of we want to study, council wants further study of it, we can postpone the possession hearing on the condemnation action until a future date. But if the decision is not to say, we are voting against the connection with Rutledge Way to Rutherford Boulevard, then we need a determination of whether you want to continue with that cul-de-sac.
And we need the cul-de-sac for the waste management property development. So there needs to be a road, at least that comes, about midway through the waste management site and the Smythe property. So there's a need for waste management to develop their site. They're going to have that cul-de-sac.
And just to clarify that the city can, acquire that right away now, and to some of the points that have been expressed by Vice Mayor, we don't have to do that. We don't have to actually build the road now if we acquire the right of way now, but we do need some guidance in terms, are we just deferring? Do you want to acquire the entire right-of-way now, or do you just want to acquire what is necessary at this point in time for the cul-de-sac?
It's easy for me to say spend the money, but let me tell you what I think. My thought is do whatever we need to do to hold that option open for us to make that connection if it is deemed appropriate and necessary. That's one man's opinion, is that I would say do whatever you need to do to keep that option open for us. But my inclination is to say what I would authorize, I feel comfortable authorizing is the connection between Church and Warrior Drive, and moving forward with that. But to keep the option open so that Rutledge Way, if it proves to be necessary, we still have the capacity to do that and do it effectively.
If that's a very clear direction, if that's the will of council.
And I think that's a pretty fair, as I said this last night, this is the part that stinks about this role that we're in when you have to make decisions that are going to affect people's property. But the section, I think it needs to be studied because we've gone through the amount of money that has been spent to go through the wetlands mitigation and the credits that we've already bought on the north-south connection, taking into account that small portion that we're going to build that would eventually connect Rutledge. That's a substantial amount that we've spent. And so if the fair thing, like Bill said, is not to build the rest of Rutledge, but say, okay, look, we're just going to hold and see how things get the information and hold it. It may be built 10 years from now, but it's only going to get more expensive for the taxpayer. So I think that seems like that's a fair thing. I would support I would support that and not building the rest of Rutledge. But I do think that the east-west connector at some point is going to be beneficial.
So if I may, acquire the right-of-way, proceed with additional study on a traffic impact, but hold off on any movement on construction of the connection.
Yes.
That would be mine.
Seems fair.
If someone would put that into motion, I would.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. And Adam, you've got what you need based on Bill's comments.
I do, yes.
If you don't, you can go back and hit rewind and watch it. All right, motion and second. Ms. Tucker, please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. And Mr. Smythe and y'all who are out there, thank y'all. This is a working through. I know it's been a long talk. So, all right, let's move to beer permits.
Yes, sir, we have two tonight. One is for a new restaurant located at 1602 West Northfield Boulevard, and the other is for a new grocery market located at 1314 West Lawn Boulevard. Both applicants submit our requirements, and we recommend approval pending any final building and codes inspections.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Any statements to be paid?
No, sir.
Any business from staff?
Yes, one other business item, Mayor. We discovered through a payroll audit that we needed to withhold more federal tax from our employees' longevity stipends. So we're actually requesting an increase from $60 to $75, that's per year of employment, to actually cover that tax that we're withholding. That's to match, basically make them whole to equivalent to last year's longevity stipend. So we're asking for that, and to cover their Christmas gift, because the Christmas gift is also going to have that tax deduction, that larger tax deduction. So we're doing this through a unforeseen account. It is around $165,000, and we don't need a budget amendment.
No, sir. Water will probably have a $30,000 to $35,000 impact as well.
Right.
So just to make sure, the longevity is going from 60 per year to 75 per year.
Yes, sir.
So, for example, if you work 20 years, you're now going to get $300 more than what you would have gotten, which should more than compensate what your tax liability was by moving to the 22% that was being taxed.
Correct.
So everyone should be whole.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay. That seems
It's Christmas.
fair.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Any other business from staff?
No, sir.
Any other business from the council?
Tomorrow night, light the tree downtown.
Christmas.
5:30, come on down. It'll be a great time. I'll make sure you come downtown.
It's Saturday. Oakland plays for their, sixth championship out of
championship.
7 years or something like that?
Awesome.
It's all Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, Ravenwood and Franklin.
Ravenwood, that's awesome.
And then next Thursday, speaking of not so fun stuff, we have a council meeting next Thursday for a council workshop, correct?
Yes, we do. We have a workshop, and then we're off for several weeks. So the workshop next week, there's going to be several action items, just because we are going to have a 3-week hiatus, because Christmas and New Year's falls on a Thursday. So we won't meet again until January 8th, which is going to end up, that's our normal workshop date, but we'll meet in an evening. It'll be an evening meeting on the 8th.
So this is our last meeting in the chamber before Christmas.
Correct. Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
it's after Christmas.
Yes, ma'am.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Sean wore his good tie. I forgot to wear mine.
Thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead.
All right. Seeing no other business, stand adjourned.